Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel. Don't be surprised if the SEC versus Ripple lawsuit is not the last legal concern having to do with the XRP ledger. Now, take a look at this headline from the Crypto Basic, which, as far as I'm concerned, is positive, but could lead to some serious legal messiness. Here's the headline from today. XRPL Labs changes validators' position to vote on amendments after yes votes reach 50%. Now, I'll tell you here at the outset, what they're talking about is that the XLS20 amendment, which would add additional NFT functionality, it would be to the XRP ledger, so it would be native on layer 1, additional functionality, which could make, for many applications, the XRP ledger competitive against, pick your other platform that has a pretty good amount of NFT adoption. XRP Ledger could suddenly be in the running. Well, here's the thing. If that happens, and there's a pretty reasonable chance that this thing at some point in the future is going to pass, and I'll give you the specifics a little bit later in the video, even if that happens, as one of my fellow XRP YouTubers pointed out, this could result in some serious legal troubles, and attorney Jeremy Hogan agrees with that, unfortunately. And that's not all. And I'm not going to talk about this next thing I'm going to say. I'm still concerned about this potentially because I think the SEC is an awful agency of the government. But there's even the fact that, look, the SEC is coming after exchanges in general, centralized exchanges. What are they going to do to decentralized exchanges in terms of the legality of accessing them in the future? Because the XRP ledger has a built-in decentralized exchange. So I'm not trying to be like negative or a bearer of bad news. I think that what should be done ultimately generally gets done. I mean, as new technology comes along, a lot of times you do have to adjust laws to make sure that everything can fit and be used. Because decades ago, you can think back even to, as it pertains to the SEC v. Howie case. Well, that Supreme Court case in 1946, could they even have conceived of blockchain technology? I mean, you need the internet first. We didn't even have that. But can you imagine trying to explain that to them back then? They'd be like, the what-a-who? Magic internet money? What's the internet? So anyway, before going further, I'll explain to you exactly what was going on here. But before going further, I do want to be clear. I do not have a legal or financial background of any kind. I am not offering legal or financial advice. And you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything that I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos about crypto-related topics, but just as a hobby and just for fun. Now, the XRP ledger was never intended to be a solution for everything in the world of crypto, but it can be modified to a certain degree without sacrificing its payments abilities in order to add new functionality. It's such as the case with the XLS20 amendment for NFTs, like I was saying. So there are many problems that can be solved in the world of crypto, and even Ripple wasn't sure what route they wanted to go as a company in the earliest of days. In fact, take a look at this, and this is an interesting point to tag on here. There's a tweet from attorney John Deaton that reads as follows. Many are unaware that there was a debate at Ripple whether to focus on smart contracts or cross-border payments. Some look at Ethereum today and think it was a mistake to go the route Ripple chose because it chose to disrupt a half-century legacy banking system. Doesn't happen overnight. And that is true, and I've talked about this a number of times on the channel. Ripple in the earliest of days, and I've heard Brad Garlinghouse in videos talk about this, in old videos, is like, do we do something with smart contracts somehow? Do we what? They ended up going the route that, the route that Ripple went, positioning XRP as a bridge currency ultimately, which is, they have a serious solution out there. There's real utility to be had. But yeah, to shake up the legacy financial system, it's going to take a while here. But it's interesting too, and it's worth mentioning this, as pointed out by XRP community member Wheezy, and John Deaton shared this also. Vitalik Buterin actually got a lot of ideas for what Ethereum ultimately became. He got them from Ripple and Ripple employees. So check this out. And this was written by Stefan Thomas, who was a former Ripple employee. He was actually the chief technical officer before David Schwartz. But Stefan Thomas wrote the following some years ago. He wrote, later in 2013, a young Bitcoin developer crashed on my couch for a couple of weeks while visiting San Francisco. In the afternoon, he would come to the Ripple office and join our discussions about smart contracts. His name was Vitalik Buterin. And these conversations led him to incorporate Ripple's key/value data structure into Ethereum. So end quote. So it's never ceased to amaze me the degree to which Ripple has had a gigantic impact on the entire world of crypto from the earliest of days. Just the impact of what has been going on with Ripple from the very beginning. I mean, to use the word, it ripples out, right? The impact has rippled out, has it not? It's just fascinating to see all of this. And it's also funny to point out how ridiculous some of the people in the earliest of days were, in regards of, the one-size-fits-all approach. And we still have the maximalists out there. And it's just, they are wrong. There's never going to be a one-size-fits-all in the world of crypto. But it's just funny to think, how many great minds out there are. It's just like they're part of like a cult at this point, is what it seems like. And so my fellow XRP YouTuber shared this video clip, which went on for a couple seconds, or a couple minutes here. And it was 3 different clips. This one clip had 3 clips inside of it of former Ripple CTO Stefan Thomas. And in the first clip, it was interesting. I hadn't seen this one before, but she wrote a quote here, and this is from June of this year. Stefan Thomas said, "Even people I was very close friends with when I was working on Bitcoin were suddenly not talking to me when I was working on XRP." Now, isn't that a sad state? Now, and some minds can change, and it's worth pointing this out too. I don't know how many people know this, but even Stefan Thomas, he's told this story publicly before. He was approached by Jed McCaleb to come and work on what would ultimately become XRP and the XRP ledger. So Jed McCaleb sent a message over to Stefan Thomas, basically saying, "Hey, I wondered if we could talk, if you would be interested in working on a project with me, a new project." And then Stefan Thomas said something like, "Okay, but is it a cryptocurrency other than Bitcoin?" And then Jed McCaleb wrote back and said yes. And then Stefan wrote back to him and said, "Not interested." 2 words, not interested. So even Stefan Thomas had to kind of change his mind. So his thinking kind of evolved as well. And he realized, okay, this isn't going to be a one-chain world. There's going to be all sorts of cryptocurrencies out there ultimately that are adopted, and things change. And so even with the XRP ledger, it's just interesting to see that since it is decentralized, if you have 80% of validators voting in a particular way on an amendment, you can change the nature of the XRP ledger, but you need to be very thoughtful and very careful about it, because if you change something, there's always the concern, is it going to break something else? And also, you don't want to take away the amazing functionality in terms of what XRP can do in the worlds of payments. Like, that's the secret sauce of XRP. It's the best cryptocurrency on the entire planet for payments. And you start throwing in additional functionality native on layer 1, you can muck up the work. So I don't think that's going to happen here, but it is neat to see that as far as it pertains to NFTs, there was already a certain amount of functionality with the built-in decentralized exchange. So you could already, quote unquote, like mint NFTs, to issue IOUs. It's the same thing. There's that, but there are certain additional functionalities which I've shared on this channel before, and we'll get a little bit into in just a second here. But with this update, the XLS20 amendment, should this thing ultimately pass, it would be fantastic in terms of adoption of NFTs on the XRP ledger, and it's early enough now. We're in the earliest days of NFTs, as far as I'm concerned, that if major adoption could happen on the XRP ledger now, if this actually passes. But that doesn't mean that it won't come with serious legal problems, as I was talking about at the outset of the video. And so, and I hadn't considered this as far as it pertains to NFTs before, but my fellow XRP YouTuber Crypto Eddie brought this up in a short thread, so all the credit in the world to her. And then attorney Jeremy Hogan responded to this, agreeing with her. So here's what my fellow XRP YouTuber Crypto Eddie had to say. And she, oh, by the way, she references somebody named Leah Halpern. I don't know what she even considers herself. I don't know if she considers herself a reporter. I don't even know what the hell she's doing right now. I'm not a fan of Leah Halpern because she is one of the most closed-minded people who is well-known in crypto, in the world of crypto. At some point, she tweeted out that, and I'm paraphrasing here, but she wasn't a fan of XRP after doing her own research. And at some point, maybe been a couple years or so ago, I don't remember, but I was just curious. I was genuinely curious. I was just like, okay, well, I was just wondering, like, what research did you do that led you to come to that conclusion? And just asking the question that prompted her to block me. Talk about closed-mindedness. She's got her opinions based on who knows what. So maybe she's a Bitcoin maxi. I don't freaking know. And so I just blocked her back. But anyway, that's who's being referenced right here. Definitely not a fan. So people that behave like that, it's a major turnoff, really major turnoff, to be that close-minded and not even be willing to have an intellectual discussion on cryptocurrency with a polite person. Crazy, but it is what it is. Twitter's successful. But anyway, Crypto Eddie wrote the following. 17 months ago, Leah Halpern and I conversed in a YouTube video about NFTs. Because I've cleared rights to images for movies, posters, and publishers many moons ago, I knew the intellectual property, or IP for short, of course, I knew the intellectual property rights were going to be an issue with NFTs. In the real world, most copyright transfers are carried out by IP transfer agreements. World of Women NFT collection is the only one among the top 25 NFT collections that attempts to transfer all rights to IP to NFT owners. However, it is not clear whether the IP transfer agreement will be carried over to downstream sales if the secondary distribution marketplace. Even if you intend to own a rare NFT collection like BAYC, the actual owner of the IP is not the NFT purchaser. So let me just pause and note, just make sure we're all on the same page. Or what she's saying here is even if a token is sold, an NFT, a non-fungible token is sold, there's a new owner right then, that doesn't mean that the intellectual property rights have transferred as a result of that sale. Which, as you can imagine, could be problematic, right? So that's what Crypto Eddie's saying. It's not something I had even thought of before, so I was like, oh, wow, that's a good point. Which is why I wanted to share it on my channel and kind of spread the word. And then Crypto Eddie also wrote, Galaxy Digital has just published the argument that without real-world copyright transfers, there is no ownership of an NFT image. It is not enough to own a licensed digital token. Galaxy's report says, quote, without copyright, you can't even prevent others from displaying art associated with your NFTs, end quote. Unless the artist expressly states otherwise in the license terms, only the artist has that right. In my opinion, expect NFTs to become a big legal mess very soon. So think about this. If this adoption occurs, this amendment passes, the XLS20 amendment, are we going to see more lawsuits surrounding the XRP ledger? And it would not that they'd even be going after Ripple necessarily. I'm not saying that. Okay, I mean, we're talking about validators, decentralized systems, so validators the world over approving this damn thing. From a legal perspective, to what degree is it going to be allowed, and what would it mean? What would the implications be? Because even if it functions, and maybe you're not trying to shut down the XRP ledger, that type of functionality of it. If from a legal perspective you can't transfer IP, doesn't that take away a lot of the utility and purpose of it? That's kind of a concern. So it's gonna. So there's another thing. Crypto Eddie's just warning everybody, could get messy here. And then that's why I mentioned I'm not getting into this in this video, but I thought it was worth saying, because let's just get all the legal concerns out on the table. What about the XRP Ledger's built-in decentralized exchange, which has been operational for about a decade at this point? Is that going to be another problem? See, but doesn't that illustrate to you how early we are in the days of the earliest days of crypto? Yeah? And so attorney Jeremy Hogan retweeted that thread and said the following. Crypto Eddie concludes this excellent thread stating the NFT space will be a legal mess in a couple years. Spot on. Finished a nasty trademark case over a restaurant name last year. I can't imagine the same case when the IP rights have been sold 25 times. It would be cray-cray. That's the official term, cray-cray. Yeah, it's gonna get pretty buck wild. That would be my suspicion. It's probably gonna get pretty buck wild. So, now that being said, excuse me, folks. Sorry about that. That being said, I still want to see the XLS20 amendment ultimately get passed, unless there's some really good technical reason that it shouldn't. I would love to see it get passed and see that additional functionality, and it does look like that's the direction that we're going. So we get into this article now from the Crypto Basic titled XRPL Labs changes validators' position to vote on amendments after yes votes reach 50%. XRPL Labs decided to have its validator vote yay as votes for the NFT-related amendment hit 50% approval. It's not always that Ripple's XRPL Labs gets involved in community affairs, especially with regard to voting on network-related issues. Let me just pause to note, XRPL Labs is not part of Ripple. So it's not Ripple's XRPL Labs. XRPL Labs is literally a separate company. It is not the same legal entity as Ripple. It is not under that umbrella. It's different people. Come on, the crypto. I like this website, but man, some of this factual stuff. I'm just telling you, like, crypto media, a lot of these people, they are definitely C students. I'm just saying, man. Anyway, piece continues. However, a recent vote on the latest amendment seems to have caught the lab's attention. The XLS20 amendment is basically a push for a network upgrade to introduce NFT capabilities in the XRP ledger. The XRP ledger has been in operation without fail since its launching back in 2012. Boasting a high throughput, experts as well as the community believe that the network can handle NFT functionalities and other smart contracts aimed at making the network more expansive. Notably, the Ripple network has thrived despite grudges held against it by people like Ethereum's Vitalik Buterin. So pause here. The XRP ledger is not Ripple's network, you damn C student. Stop it. And then what they were referencing there as far as bringing up Vitalik Buterin is, I'm sure most of you heard by this point, Vitalik Buterin said that XRP does not deserve any sort of protection because of certain things that Ripple had said. I'm not going to get into it. I made 2 different videos on that topic because there were a lot of developments. Not get into it further here, but that is what was being referenced, just to be clear. Anyway, piece continues. Apparently, the Ripple community... Oh, God damn it. It is not the Ripple community. It is the XRP community. The XRP community wanted the XLS20 amendment to pass, and that seems to make XRPL Labs happy. While announcing the good news on Twitter, the XRPL Labs handle opined that the team decided to flip its validator from the nay position to the yay position after the community votes on the amendment reached an impressive 50%. And I'll just pause to note, the default on any amendment is nay. So it's not that they were actively saying, no, we don't want this. It's not like they put in a vote and changed their mind. The default position is nay, and then if you want to vote yes, then you can do that. That's how it works. Anyway, piece continues. At that point, it was pretty clear that the community wanted NFT introduced onto the XRP ledger, so the lab decided to support the motion by voting along with the majority line. And so it was nice to see that. I saw some posts from Wheat Say Wind here. I don't feel the need to read this. There's a couple of them on your screen here, but yeah. So you need to get to 80% in order for this thing to pass, and not just 80%, but it has to be sustained 80% votes for 2 weeks. Then it goes into effect. So no guarantee this is ever going to happen, but it would be neat to see it happen. I mean, if that many validators are like, yes, this is good for the XRP ecosystem, they're probably right. It's a pretty high threshold, you know? 80%, that's a pretty damn high threshold, to be honest with you. So it's meant intentionally to be difficult to change the XRP ledger. It's meant to be intentionally difficult. It's a high bar, and I think that's good. I think that adds safety and security to the XRP ecosystem, the XRP ledger. So if that many people vote yes, ultimately, I'm like, yep, okay, let's go. Crypto's freaking crazy, man. I'm going to wrap up here, though. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. You know I love hearing from you, and when I don't hear from you, it hurts my feelings. Did I do something wrong? I'm not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything that I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo.